I used to think I hated being alone, like genuinely. Not in a poetic, I like my solitude kind of way. I mean the kind of alone where something just feels slightly off the entire time you're with yourself, even if nothing is actually wrong. But I don't think I actually hate being alone. I think I hate what shows up when I'm alone. And those two things feel similar at first, but they're completely different once you sit with it for a bit. Being alone is just physical. It's where you are. It's your room, your car, your walk home, your headphones in. It's neutral. But loneliness is different. Loneliness is when you're in the exact same place, doing the exact same thing, but it feels like you're missing from your own life. And I don't think people talk about that distinction enough. Because if it was just about being alone, it would be easy to fix. You just go outside more, talk to more people, keep yourself busy. Problem solved. But loneliness doesn't really care about that. It can follow you into a room full of people and sit right next to you without anyone noticing. And you've probably felt that before, that moment where everything is fine, you're laughing, you're talking, you're present, and then for a split second, something inside you steps back and you think, none of this is actually reaching me. And then it's gone, so you just keep going like nothing happened. I remember one time I left a hangout that was actually fun and good. Nothing weird, nothing awkward, just a normal night. But the second I got into my car and I closed the door, everything shifted. There was no dramatic issue or nothing bad happening. It just got so quiet and the loneliness hit in a way that didn't feel peaceful at all. It felt empty. And I remember just sitting there for a bit longer than I needed to, not because I was sad, but because I couldn't really name what I was feeling. And I think that's what messes with you, because it makes you start asking questions you normally don't ask when you're distracted. Like, do people actually know me? Or do they just know the version of myself that shows up well in rooms? Not in a way that's self-pitying, just in a very honest, raw, and authentic way. Because I realize most people don't really know your internal world. They know your timing, they may know your jokes, your reactions, and your energy, but they don't know what your mind sounds like when nothing is happening. And to be honest, you don't really show them that part either, not fully, because you can't, or you don't know how. So you start wondering if everyone is just walking around like this, slightly unknown even to the people closest to them. And what's confusing is that you can have good people in your life, real friends, people you trust, people you love, people you laugh with, spend time with, and feel comfortable around. And yet, you can still feel lonely sometimes. That's the part that used to not make sense to me. Because I thought loneliness meant the absence of people, but it doesn't. It's not about quantity. It's about connection that actually lands. And that's not something you can force or schedule or optimize. It either exists in that moment or it doesn't. And because of that, a lot of people end up doing this thing without realizing it. They start performing a version of themselves that makes interaction smoother. Not fake, just slightly adjusted or an exaggerated version of themselves that they want to present to people, to be liked, to get along with others. You match energy, you keep things light, you avoid silence, you become easy to be around. And it works, until you're alone again. Then there's nothing left to perform for, no social structure holding you up. And that contrast is what hits you the hardest, not the loneliness itself, but the drop after it. So you start filling the gaps. Scrolling, watching, listening to something in the background just so your thoughts don't get too loud. Not because you're bored necessarily, but because silence starts to feel like something you need to escape from. And I don't think that's random. I think that's a signal. Not a problem to fix immediately, but something to notice. Because the moments where I felt the most lonely weren't always when I was physically alone. They were when I felt the least connected to myself, even in normal situations. Like I was there, but not fully there, just reacting, moving, existing on autopilot. And that's when something shifted for me. Maybe loneliness isn't just telling you that you need more people in your life. Maybe it's telling you that something in your current experience, including how you relate to yourself, doesn't feel fully grounded, like you're kind of not in alignment with yourself. And I know that sounds heavy, but I've come to realize it's a lot simpler than it sounds. It's in the small things, not immediately grabbing or reaching for your phone when there's silence, not constantly filling every gap in conversation, not always needing to be on socially just to feel okay in a room. At first, that felt uncomfortable for me, almost like withdrawal in a sense, because you realize how often you've been avoiding stillness without even realizing it. But over time, something changes. The silence stops feeling like emptiness. It starts feeling like space. And that's the difference I didn't understand before. Loneliness feels like absence. Space feels like possibility. They're the same exact situation, just interpreted differently. And I don't want to pretend that that perspective fixes everything. It doesn't. You will still have moments where it hits you. But, at least in my experience, it stops feeling like something is wrong with you. It just becomes something you move through instead of something that defines you. Because the goal was never feel lonely. That's just impossible. The goal is to stop confusing loneliness with being alone. So when everything is quiet and you're just sitting there with yourself, it doesn't automatically mean something is missing. It can just mean you're there. No performance, no noise, just you existing in your own skin. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Thanks for watching, Nardo, and I'll see you in the next video.